Hello again, everybody. It's Harry Boxer, the technical trader at thetechtrader.com. It is Tuesday, August the 8th. These are the charts of the day. Well, that was a pretty nasty plunge on war talk and saber rattling this afternoon. Just when the market looked like it was exploding, and we had a big rally in the S&P that took up the new highs, 2490 and change. And NASDAQ 100 trying to get to its old high. Didn't quite make it, so we have a lower high, non-confirming the S&P highs. Now, those wedges were taken out to the upside. Is it a head fake? We'll find out the next day or two, won't we? Could it still be a top? Of course it can, but with 1, 2, 3, 4 consecutive new highs in the S&P, it's hard to believe that it's a peak, but anything under the 2460-65 zone would be extremely negative and probably top confirming. NDX has got to take out 5850 thereabout to take that and confirm it. So let's go through some charts. And we're going to start off with Castilium, an aluminum stock that I've been following for a long time that I like. The big base was built and the stock has popped. Now, a couple of days ago, I believe 2 days ago, we posted it as a big volume breakout. Then it had an inside day yesterday, and today it popped and went all the way up to just under 11 at 1095, closing at 1035. So not the best close, but at some point, if it consolidates, it may be a setup for 12. Eventually looking for 15. Those are my targets. DVAX, a little bit of a follow through, got up to a new high and got to my first swing target of 19, reaching 1960. It did close at 1865, so 95 cents off the high is not a good close, and it was only up a quarter on the day. So not very disappointed with that, but still the trend is your friend. The trend is in place. It looks to me like it has more to go. I'm still looking for 23.4. 4.3 days to cover. FGEN. Well, an explosive move today. A major drug news exploded it out of the consolidation of the last couple of weeks in the 33.35 range. Opening at 50.40 and running up to 51.70 before backing off. It was up 16.10 on the day. 48% gain on 9 million. Biggest volume ever. So a lot of times we see these big breakaway gaps and they tend to move higher. I would not be surprised to see 55.60 on the short term, especially with almost 5 days to cover short. GoPro. Well, I got to admit that after the long downtrend and then the basing pattern, it broke out with a breakaway gap 2 days ago, had a nice inside day and followed through today. Now there is a resistance at the early February high around the 1110 range, 1110, 1125 range. We can get up to that. Maybe we see 12.5. Maybe we see more than that. But a good start to potentially a major turnaround, perhaps a new uptrend. And there is 13 days to cover on GoPro. Now, Kite is acting well and probably one of the better biotechs out there right now. It did spike up and get up to a new all-time high, or is it? Yeah, it was a new all-time high, and it got up to 122 plus today before closing at 120.13, up 6.58 or almost 6%. Volume was the best in a couple months at 2,178,000. To me, it looks like the top of the channel would be the target around 127.8. Then we get to that, or the thing accelerates even longer. There's a possibility down the road we see 150. 6.8 days to cover on Kite. Kopin had a significant day today with a breakaway gap and a sharp move up of 57 cents or 17% on 1,000,004, which is the biggest volume since it traded 1,000,006 back in March the 13th on that breakout day. So for me, if this is a breakout day, then that could be leading to higher levels eventually into the 5.5 range, maybe more. And there's 11 days to cover on Kopin. Don't forget that. Lending Club. Well, after a big drop that saw this come substantially off the IPO high near 29, it dropped down to 3 and change. Over the last year, it's built out a nice base. There is a triple top up here in the 675.80 range. But in the last couple of days, it's popped from 5 to 645.50 area. Closing at the upper end of the range on a breakaway move like that with big volume like that, 33.5 million with 9.5 days to cover. This may very well break through that and run up into the 7, 8, 9 zone and maybe eventually get up to 10. So this could be something to keep our eyes on. That is my next target, around 8.5. Could be a good swing potential. Loxo. Well, as you know, it had a pop 2 days ago, a little inside day yesterday, and today pulled back and held the trend line and then pop. It could not get the resistance near 76.5. It did back off. That's an area we'll be watching. The resistance for me is about 76 and a quarter, half up there. We get through that, we're looking at 84 and beyond. 6.34 days to cover. Well, MDCA, the major what we call exhaustion gap and spike down here on big volume. The rally and coil, the breakout, and then a long flag over a few months before the breakout. And this pattern got up to resistance and backed off on a falling wedge. But look how it held not only the trend line, but the 50-day. Today it was a breakaway move, up $1.50 or 16%. 1.1 million was the biggest volume that's traded since late April when it had that big reversal day. So for me, I think we're headed towards the $12 range. That's my short-term target. And it's 5.5 days to cover on that. Mine broke out of a wedge today with a pop of $1.61 or 5.7% on 1/3 million, which is the second biggest volume since September, and indicates to me that the stock may have more legs. This is a swing target, swing trade, and the target's at 31 and 34.5 range. Meritor, in a beautiful rising channel, recently broke through a double top, pulled back for a little wedge, and then popped again. And today, breaking out above 19.5 before backing off, it was up 34 cents, only a little less than 2%, but to new highs. That's the key. I think the stock's headed for 23, 24 range. 9.2 days to cover on that beauty. MYOK with a huge follow-through day, another 475 or 15%. Love the way that acted. My bad for not putting a swing on it because I was going to yesterday intraday. Did not. Anyway, you can see it's already 9 points up from that level. It's at the top of the long-range channel. There may be a need to consolidate, pull back, and set up a move into the 40s and 50s. But at this point, a little short-term extended. However, momentum is huge on this one, and there's still 4.4 days to cover. NVCR, that swing trade is working, and after consolidation in this zone, it broke out of the 5-day pullback with a nice little pop. 6 days to cover on that. I'm looking for a retest of the 21 1.5 range, and eventually 27. Big day for Ralph Lauren, huge day, moving up 1038 or 13.3% on a mere 5 million shares. Biggest volume on an up day since February. But the key is to break through this level. My target has to be up in that zone and near the declining tops line, up around 92. 4 days to cover. Tactile Systems. Broke through here, has been running up, and then set into a nice little pullback consolidation. Look how it held at 50 in the trend line and exploded today. Now it hit the top of the channel at resistance near the target around 35 3/4 and backed off a couple points. So it wasn't the best close, but it was still up 365 or 12%, and the volume was big. Let's set us up for more by getting a little bit of a consolidation in this zone. And maybe if that holds right there, or fills the gap, one or the other, somewhere in that zone we can get a setup for a move to 38.40. Well, Twilio had a nice pop. It ran sharply. It got up near resistance right there. There's multiple tops in that zone, and it backed off, which would be normal. But it was still up 305 or 10% on 12.6 million. And that's the biggest volume on an update since way back in here. So for me, despite some of the thoughts in the room, I still think that even if it consolidates or pulls back, it's a buy. If it breaks out and runs up, the target's 38. There's 9 days to cover short. Vonage with a beautiful follow-through breakaway gap today. That's actually a running gap. This is the breakaway gap. At this point, when you step back and look at the overall structure of the pattern, it looks like this could be an $11 stock. That's my goal. And finally, Weight Watchers, yet again, following through with another 286 or 6.6% on 4.5 million. The stock looks a little bit short-term extended. I'd have to say it's a really strong-looking angle of ascent with good technicals, and 7.7 days to cover doesn't hurt. So if it does get up to the 50 range and starts to accelerate, it might even see 60 before it's over. And that's it for tonight, everybody. Let's make some money tomorrow. I'll talk to you in the morning. Bye-bye.